But yeah, first of all, just welcome to our virtual Seder. We're following in the footsteps of Danny, who did it last year. So we try to more or less recreate what we did last year. So please, everybody, check that you're muted if possible. And you can hear me properly. Okay. And yeah, we'll be unmuting everyone often, so don't worry. Make sure you've got everything ready for tonight. We've attached the Haggadah in the chat box in case anybody wants to download it and follow it themselves. If not, we're going to share the screen so everybody can see it anyway. So, please, Juan, if you want to
translate. I can translate it to Spanish. Bueno, primero de todo, muchísimas gracias a todos y a todas por estar aquí en este Seder de Pesaj Online, segundo año. Iremos a lo largo del transcurso del evento traduciendo entre inglés y español, entre Teo y yo. Y yo me he encargado de la parte del español. Como ha dicho, bueno, primero de todo, bienvenidos. Espero que disfrutéis mucho del evento. Y bueno, ahora es muy importante, por favor, que todos os pongáis en mute para que no se pueda escuchar ningún tipo de ruido en el fondo, para que podamos hacerlo esto de la manera más dinámica y más fácil posible todos. Y nada, hemos adjuntado en el grupo de aquí de Zoom la Haggadah tanto en español como en inglés, para que aquellos que no entiendan uno de los dos idiomas puedan seguirla sin ningún tipo de problemas a lo largo del transcurso del Seder. Y nada, que os relajéis mucho, estad tranquilos, que entramos en un estado de paz ahora y bueno, que esperemos que disfrutéis muchísimo el evento. Y una vez más, muchísimas gracias a Dani, porque gran parte del trabajo hemos tenido que seguirlo de lo que inició el año pasado. Y una vez más, gracias a Teo y a mis compañeros, y a Imi y a Adri, que le hemos puesto muchas horas y bueno, espero que lo disfrutéis mucho.
Hola, perdona. El micro te roza la camisa y hace ruido.
Uy, perdón. Gracias por decírmelo. Perdón.
Creo que es esto, sí.
Perdón. ¿Mejor?
Sí, perfecto.
Vale,
gracias.
Perdón. Gracias a usted. Bueno, gracias. Pues vamos a empezar. Volvemos al inglés.
Please take it away, Juan. You're going to start with the comparisons.
Bueno, pues me imagino que todos los presentes, si hay algún problema de escucharme, que alguien me lo diga, por favor. Como habréis visto ya en el newsletter que enviamos, este año, un segundo año en el que nos encontramos una vez más separados por la distancia porque el virus sigue estando desgraciadamente en nuestras vidas, pues es un año en el que creo que tenemos que ver la simbología una vez más del paralelismo que hay, marcando las distancias, evidentemente, entre los tiempos en los que escapamos de la esclavitud y en los que tenemos que escapar de un virus que está acabando en gran parte con nuestra libertad, en la que vemos todos los días cómo se restringe seriamente nuestra libertad de movimiento, nuestra libertad de sociabilizar con otras personas. Y bueno, no sabemos cuánto durará. Esperemos que lo menos posible y que ojalá que en 2022 podamos estar todos unidos, pero mientras tanto nos encontramos en esta situación un tanto difícil y creo que es fundamental que para salir de esta situación en la que nos encontramos todos ahora mismo, estemos donde estemos, desde Cleveland, Ohio hasta Mallorca, tenemos que estar todos más unidos que nunca. Y si algo hemos visto a lo largo de la historia de nuestro pueblo, es que en aquellos momentos de dificultad máxima y absoluta hemos sabido salir adelante en circunstancias adversas estando unidos. Entonces, creo que ahora es el momento en el que todos tenemos que seguir siendo responsables, seguir siendo cautos, seguir siendo las instrucciones por parte de nuestro gobierno en España en este caso, pese a que nos pueda costar entenderlas, pero tenemos que ser muy responsables para poder acabar cuanto antes con este virus y para poder estar juntos. Así que nada, el mensaje que quería transmitir es que cada vez estamos más cerca. Hay un mensaje negativo, como vemos siempre en el Seder, de la esclavitud, pero un mensaje positivo de alcanzar la libertad individual y la libertad como pueblo conjunto que somos, de ahí la comunidad que representamos. Y nada, que espero que todos sigamos poniendo nuestra parte, que estoy encantado de ver que pese a la distancia desde varios rincones del mundo estamos todos aquí unidos y que lo dicho, que esperemos que esto pueda acabar cuanto antes y el año que viene poder hacerlo juntos en persona, que no hay cosa que nos apetezca más.
So a little summary of what Juan was saying is that this year, more than any other, we've seen our freedoms to a certain point limited. So it draws similarities to the time that Pesach commemorates. Although we can't really compare it, there is definitely some similarities we can take. And yes, what Juan was saying is that we need to together push forward, and as they did, we need to come together, and only like that we'll be able to become free again, to say. I'm not going to keep you guys waiting. I'm not going to make it any longer than it has to be. So with all that said, we'll get right into it. So very quickly, we want to create 2 breakout rooms. There's a video that a dear friend of Juan, Haim Casas, sent. So we're going to put everyone into 2 groups so we can watch the video quickly, and then we'll get straight into the Seder.
Lo voy a traducir muy rápidamente. Una vez que ya hemos explicado la temática, vamos a entrar directamente en el Seder para no perder más tiempo, que tenemos muchas cosas que cubrir. Y un buen amigo mío que se llama el rabino Haim Casas, de la comunidad de la Quejilá de Beir Ramban en Andalucía, que también en Toulouse, nos ha hecho el favor de hacernos 2 vídeos, uno en español y uno en inglés, muy cortitos, de 2-3 minutos, con un mensaje muy positivo para este Seder. Y ahora Teo nos dividirá en 2 breakout rooms, uno en español, uno en inglés, para que podamos verlo. Seleccionad el idioma para verlo, español e inglés. Lo veremos brevemente y luego sacaremos un mensaje y podremos ya empezar y meternos de pleno en el Seder.
Hola, hola, Manishma. Lama Zerak Atabe Ani. ¿Dónde están todos los otros españoles, tío? Ay, aquí viene Jota. Jota, enciende tu cámara, tío. Eso es una cosa, Juan, que podemos decir cuando estamos todos juntos, que sí es posible que la gente...
Encender la cámara para poder vernos.
Hombre, estamos en un Seder, que tenemos que conectar con ellos.
Por supuesto.
Hola, Jota, ¿nos escuchas? Estamos hablando de ti. Y nos falta Joan Valls, creo. No sé si él quiere quedar en lo de inglés. Y Ferran Aguiló, seguramente. Y creo que había uno más, ¿no?
Una cosa, Dani. El vídeo de Jaime.
Yo lo tengo.
¿Lo puedes poner tú?
Sí.
Vale, perfecto.
Pero no quiero empezar hasta que todo el mundo está por aquí.
Por supuesto. Vamos a esperar un minutito más, a ver. Aarón, muchísimas gracias por haberte unido. Y por
gracias a ustedes por invitarme y vaya 2 años seguidos, ya soy un experto aquí en estas cosas. Gracias a Dani por dar este chance de conocer más gente y pasárnosla bien y disfrutar.
Qué bueno verte,
Igualmente, ya va a venir por aquí mi chiquitina. Ya vas a ver, ¿te acordás? Hace un año era una cosa, hoy ya camina, ya corre y todo. Ya la vas a ver.
Qué maravilla.
Qué bueno.
Sí.
Oye, como vamos un poco deprisa, creo que ya estamos todos aquí, que hablan castellano, catalán también, pero vamos a hablar en castellano porque aún estoy aprendiendo mi mallorquín. Voy a compartir un video de nuestro querido rabino Haim Casas, ¿vale? Y vamos a escuchar algunas palabras suyo en castellano, ¿vale? Y muchas gracias, Juan, para toda la organización y para darnos la oportunidad de escuchar de rabino Haim. A ver, avísame por aquí por chat si se escucha bien.
Shalom a todos mis amigos de la comunidad judía de Mallorca. Muchas gracias por haberme invitado a compartir unas breves palabras con vosotros y la oportunidad de desearos Hag Pesach Sameach, Kasher Besameach, como dirían algunos. Y nada, yo de toda la Agadá siempre digo que la podríamos resumir en un texto que aparece al principio de la Haggadah. Ese momento en el que cantamos el Aglachma Anya, este es el pan de la aflicción, ese es el pan del dolor, de la aflicción que comieron nuestros padres en tierras de Egipto. Aquel que tenga hambre, que venga y coma. Aquel que esté necesitado, que venga y celebre Pesaj con nosotros este año aquí, pero el año próximo en tierras de Israel. Este año aún esclavos, pero el año próximo hijos libres. Creo que esta frase, este pequeño texto, resume el valor de Pesaj. Por un lado, recordar el dolor de nuestros padres, el pan de la miseria que comieron nuestros padres. Y ofrecemos ese pan de la miseria, curiosamente, ¿no? ¿Quién ofrecería un pan de dolor, un pan de miseria a otros, ¿no? Porque qué tipo de invitación es esa, ¿no? Y sin embargo invitamos, decimos, los que tengan hambre, los que tengan necesidad, que vengan aquí. Es decir, Pesaj es ese recuerdo, esa conexión con nuestros antepasados, pero es también la unión, la conexión con todo aquel que sufre hoy, para así construir un futuro en esa Jerusalén reconstruida, ese futuro en libertad. Es decir, lo que nos va a hacer pasar del pan de la miseria y de la esclavitud a esa libertad y a ese reencuentro en Jerusalén reconstruida es el hecho de compartir. Es cuando compartimos, cuando conectamos con el que más lo necesita, que verdaderamente podemos decir que somos seres libres. Hay una frase de Abraham Lincoln que me gusta recordar en esta época del año que dice: cuando un hombre se acostumbra a ver a los demás encadenados, es porque él también ha aceptado encadenarse a sí mismo, es porque él también vive encadenado. Nuestra libertad no es real, no existe, es una ficción si no es compartida con la libertad de los demás. Si nos acostumbramos a que la opresión sea la norma común, a que la gente a nuestro alrededor sufra y sea oprimida, nunca verdaderamente vamos a alcanzar la libertad. Este es el pan de la miseria que comieron nuestros padres de Egipto. Venid y comer. Y ese es venir, comer, compartir, conectar con el que sufre, conectar con el oprimido, lo que va a hacer que el pan ese sea transformado de pan de dolor, pan de miseria, en pan de la libertad. Bueno, pues nada, sin más, no me alargo. Os deseo a todos una feliz fiesta de Pesaj. Cuídense de sus familias y espero que el año que viene pues la podamos celebrar en mejores condiciones y en todo caso en una mayor libertad de cuerpo y de espíritu. Hag Sameach.
Qué grande, Rabino Jaim.
Bueno, exacto, es que es muy grande, es muy grande. Espero que todos lo hayan disfrutado tanto como Dan y yo, porque yo cada vez que escucho a nuestro amigo Jaim, siempre saco un takeaway, siempre saco algo nuevo. Esa frase para mí, antes de meternos ya en los grupos otra vez, esa frase de Lincoln me parece una frase brillante, porque creo que, en pocas palabras, la indiferencia. El pecado más grande que puede haber muchas veces es la indiferencia, el no hacer nada, el permitirlo y el normalizarlo, como dijo Hannah Arendt durante los juicios de Nuremberg después de la Shoah, que todos conocemos. Y yo creo que ese es el gran mensaje que tenemos que sacar de Jaime, personalmente.
Totalmente de acuerdo. Y antes que regresamos al resto del grupo, me encantaría dar cada uno de nosotros en castellano, que es lo que estamos hablando en este grupo, expresar una reacción de lo que han dicho Rabino Jaim. Eso sería muy guapo. Ferran, si puedes desmutearte y háblanos un poco palabras. Y luego Jota.
Hola, ¿me oís? Un saludo.
Se oye bien.
Pues bueno, pues a mí también me ha llegado... Uy.
Tenemos 50 segundos, sí.
No te preocupes, sí, tira.
Pues nada, esta idea de que la libertad de uno no existe, sino que ha de ser de todos, que implica la justicia y la igualdad. Perfecto. Gracias.
¿Alguien más? Aaron o J, muy brevemente, que tenemos 20 segundos.
J, el filósofo, por favor.
20
Yo no soy
segundos.
más que un artista. Sí.
Bueno, en 20 segundos poco tiempo da de decir nada, pero la verdad es que son muy sabias palabras y siempre recordar esto, la libertad como valor, ¿no? La libertad de uno, pero la libertad del pueblo también, ¿no? La libertad de todos. Porque si no somos todos libres, no de nada vale la libertad de uno solo.
If I can give some advice that my daughter Ellen gave me today, because I was feeling shy and nervous to share in an online setting. And so Ellen said, just imagine that everyone is your best friend, and then it will go well.
I love the rabbi. I thought he was lovely. What a nice man.
I'm glad everyone could enjoy him. I think he's very wise, and there's always a great takeaway. And I was saying this in the Spanish breakout room, the fact of, very briefly, of indifference, how it's a big sin, and how we've tolerated and we still tolerate it nowadays in society, and how we cannot be totally free until each and every single one of us is free. Y ya me voy otra vez a español.
Okay, then I think then we'll proceed. Unfortunately, Lara, I don't think is here at the moment. Never mind. Oh yes, you are. Sorry, I apologize.
I'm active air.
Okay, so it's on to you.
Yeah, no, I'm ready. So I'm just going to talk about the order of the Seder, and the Seder means order. And we take these 15 steps. So the first we have is the Kadesh, is the wine blessing, and the Archat.
Wait, Lara, sorry. I also interrupt you 1 second. Here and then I will interrupt you. So when you stop, I can translate it into Spanish later.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So I will start very quickly. Acaba de decir que en este Seder de Pesach haremos 15 actividades en un orden seguido, determinado. Bueno, esto lo acaba de comenzar. Ahora seguiré traduciendo. You can proceed, Lara.
So some of these 15 activities just take a minute, and sometimes there's and for me, what's so interesting about this is that every state that I've ever been through is so very different. And of course, this year is really different from every other year. But I love the structure of the Seder. That Seder means order. So even though every single year and every family and, we're all so different, there's this beauty of this similarity of this ancient practice, which ties us all together. So I love, and I think of this as a form of architecture, this ritual. So the first we have, when you're ready, I'll continue with the order.
Thank you. I'll translate really quickly. Bueno, pues acaba de decirnos básicamente que algunas de estas 15 actividades que acaba de decir, pues llevarán solo un minuto, algunas otras pues llevarán un poquito más tiempo de leer o de hablar o de cantar. Recitar los 15 pasos del Seder, pues básicamente enumera la estructura de lo que será el programa a lo largo, y ha dicho que bueno, que ha estado en muchos Seders a lo largo de su vida y que este pues es uno muy único, dadas las circunstancias que se nos han dado, otro año consecutivo estando confinados y separados, pero que lo hace incluso más especial. Y sobre todo, vamos a hablar ahora de la importancia de la palabra, el orden. And you can proceed, Lara. Thank you.
Thank you. That was a lot to translate, sir. So the first we have is the Kadesh, which is the first wine blessing. Then we have the Erchatz, which is the first hand washing. Then the Karpas, where we're going to eat the green vegetable with our salt water. A Yachatz, breaking off of the dessert matzah. And the Magid, we're going to tell the Passover story. And then the Chatzah, the second hand washing, the Motzi, the blessing before the order, before we eat. The matzah, we're going to bless the matzah, and the maror, we're going to have the bitter vegetables to remind us of bitterness, tears. And the karech, eating of the matzah sandwich, which everyone's really ready for by that time. And the shulchan arech, the tzafun, finding and eating of the dessert matzah. The barech, we're going to invite in the Isaiah Misraim, the Eliyahu Hanavi, and the Hallel, and finally with the Netzah, our songs that we're going to finish the Seder.
Pues muy brevemente, antes de meternos ya de pleno, pues cada uno de los pasos lo voy a decir muy rápidamente. El Kadesh, que es la primera bendición del vino, que lo comenzará a hacer dentro de nada nuestro amigo Dani. La segunda parte es el Urhatz, que es cuando nos lavamos por primera vez las manos, en el famoso Netziat Yadayim. Luego el Karpas, que es cuando comemos los vegetales verdes con un poco de agua salada. Luego el cuarto paso es el Yahatz, cuando rompemos una parte de la matzah. La quinta es el Magid, contamos la historia de Pesach, del Seder. Luego la Gatzah, que es la segunda vez que nos volvemos a lavar las manos. Luego el Motzi, que hacemos la bendición antes de comer, que para ese momento, como ha dicho Lara, ya estaremos todos muertos de hambre. Luego la matzah, hacemos la bendición sobre la matzah, que es el pan que tenemos que comer en estos próximos 8 días en la diáspora. Luego el magó, que es comer el bitter vegetable, que ahora justo no me sale en español, perdón, el kogej, que es comer el sándwich dentro de la matzah. Luego el shulchan ogej, que es el plato principal, que lo explicaremos brevemente. El tzafun, que es encontrar y comerse el postre de la matzah. Y ya por acabando, el bagej, que es la última bendición antes de comer. El halel, que es la última canción. Y luego ya el nirtzah, que son las canciones para finalizar nuestro querido Seder. Así que ya dentro de nada, pues Dani introducirá el comienzo de todo, que es la bendición de la primera copa de vino. Y quiero que todos y cada uno de vosotros a lo largo del Seder reflexionéis en qué significa la palabra order, el orden, para cada uno de vosotros.
Gracias, muchísimas gracias, Juan, and thank you so much, Juan. And I just want to get a chance to say thank you so much to everyone for attending, and for Juan, Teo, Imi, and Adri, who were the 4 incredible organizers and leaders to this event. So we're so grateful to have them who were volunteering to put this together for us. And I think it's okay moving forward, otherwise we will not finish on time. We're going to continue with the rest of the Seder in English and only translate to Spanish the parts that are crucial, but everyone can understand the Hebrew blessing. So it's my privilege and honor to bless over the first cup of wine. We love that about Seder night, we have to drink 4 cups of wine. So usually by the end, we're having a pretty good time. I was also asked to say in memory of my growing up experience with Seder, and my mother was a Hebrew school principal. So she always liked to make things dynamic for the children, like this guy. So this is Oren, everybody, and this is his 2nd Seder ever, maybe 3rd, but he doesn't remember the first 2. And we are going to bless the wine together, okay? So everyone please raise their glass. Por favor, si tienes un vaso de vino para el Kiddush, el primer vaso, vamos a dar la bendición ahora mismo. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Amen. Tonight you are free, so let someone else fill your glass. After you say the blessing, sit down, lean back, and relax. When you drink, have someone serve you and relaxing at a meal where you can enjoy the privileges that slaves do not enjoy. We are always remembering when we were slaves in Egypt. Toda rabah, thank you so much. I don't know who the next person is to speak.
Unfortunately, Laurent isn't here, so I'll do what Laurent was supposed to talk about. So now we go on to the washing of the hands. So it's the urchat. So yes, we wash our hands so they will be ready to do special work. During the Seder, we wash our hands in an unusual way, and we do it twice. This is the first time, washing with no blessing, is urchat, which means and wash. And I will let it. So if anybody wants to. So then we have Karpas. Passover celebrates the start of spring. As cold and dark days end, green leaves return to the trees and flowers blossom again. Trees and plants are free to grow. To mark spring's return, we eat Karpas, which means green vegetable. So everybody, either if they have parsley, celery, or anything green will do. I think we've got pak choy actually.
We dip it in what? In some water?
So yeah, so before we do eat it, we dip it in salt water and we say, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hadama.
Just dip some for me.
So we'll move on to the yachat now, the breaking of the matzah. In Hebrew, it means split in half, and afikomen, which is going to be the main part of this night, is Greek for after dinner fun, or as we know commonly as dessert. This ritual is divided into two parts. One of us will now split a matzah in two. Everyone in their families feel free. If you're more, then however you want to organize it. And yeah, we're going to spend one part of that hiding. Well, sorry, we're going to hide one half for the other person. And as we spend the night seeking for our hidden truths. When it's time for dessert, the afikomen must be revealed for Seder to conclude. So this year, what we wanted to do is do two different afikomen. So everybody's more than welcome to do their own afikomen at home. And we've also prepared a special little one at the end involving fine wally. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with it. But yeah, what we want to do is, at the moment, while we're splitting the matzah, is come up with a list of organizations that are helping to make a safer, happier, healthier, and freer world. So each person or each family here can come up with one or two suggestions, and just let's compile a list and use the chat box to write them down. And if you want to talk about them or what they do, please do. And when we release the afikomen at the end, whoever finds it using our little find wally game, we'll get to choose the most important one, let's say.
Brilliant.
So everyone is writing in the chat. What, Teo? What's the answer? What's the question?
Write an organization or some sort of organization which is helping, whether it's to do with health, whether it's to do with the environment, or just in general, it's making the world a safer, happier, healthier, or freer world, whatever you would like to, whatever organization that comes to mind. And we can do that while splitting the matzah.
As we get ready to go to the next part, work with me here. I'm going to try and share my sound. I have some background music, Passover style, to see if that works. No, I think it says if I share screen, it will knock off the share screen that's on right there. So I think we're ready to go to the next part, yeah?
Sounds good to me. Does anyone want to explain the charity or organization that they've recommended? I would love to hear what Stop Ecocide is. Never mind, we'll get back
yes.
to it.
No, yes, I just was looking for my button. Stop Ecocide is an international activity with international lawyers who have worked in tribunals around the world, based in the Netherlands, to make the crime of ecocide, that's damage to the environment and to our health, the fifth international crime against humanity, along with genocide and the other crimes, racial discrimination. So they just type that word, stop ecocide, into your browser. At some point you will see the details, but it's a very impressive, and a lot of governments are signing on to it now. Thank you.
Sounds beautiful. Thank you very much for sharing. So we'll move on now. Si Ferran, si quieres unirte ahora y decir unas cuantas cosas, tenemos una parte para ti por si quieres hablar, quieres un rezo.
Nada, pues mis mejores deseos para todos y...
Vale, si quieres puedo compartir la pantalla en español para que puedas leer la parte. Te habíamos asignado la parte de Magid, la historia de la libertad.
Bien, sí.
Vale, lo subo rápido, un momento. What page is it?
22.
22. Por favor, Ferran.
Ahora. Un poco pequeño.
Un poco pequeño, pues lo pongo más grande.
Bien, sí. ¿Quieres que lea esto?
Por favor.
Haz distinta esta noche. Contar, narrar, esta es la sección más larga de la Haggadá, cuando contamos la historia de cómo el pueblo judío fue esclavizado en Egipto y más tarde se liberó. Como parte de la narración, formulamos preguntas, invitamos a la discusión y vivimos la historia actuando y cantando.
Si quieres seguir, puedes seguir si quieres.
Este es el pan aplanado y simple que comió nuestra familia cuando era esclava en la tierra de Egipto. Al recordar el escaso alimento de los esclavos, esta noche damos la bienvenida a todos aquellos que tengan hambre para que vengan y coman el banquete de Pesaj con nosotros. Ahora estamos aquí. El año próximo esperamos estar en la tierra de Israel. Ahora somos esclavos. El año próximo seremos libres. Bien.
Muchas gracias, muchas gracias. Ahora pasaremos a Aarón, que se ha ofrecido voluntaria para las 4 preguntas.
Does someone want to translate just what he said, more or less? That would be great.
I'll translate very quickly. So, Magid Ma means tell. It's the longest part of the Haggadah, when we tell the story of how the Jewish people became slaves in Egypt and then became free. As part of the telling, we ask questions, invite discussion, and experience the story with acting and singing. This is the flatbread. This is the flats, plain bread that our family ate when they were slaves in the land of Egypt. Remembering the poor food of slaves, tonight we welcome anyone who is hungry to come and eat the Passover meal with us. Now we are here. Next year we hope to be in the land of Israel. Now we are slaves. Next year may we all be free. And now we'll pass on to Aaron, who's volunteered to do Manishtana for us.
Can you hear me? Yep.
Yep.
Okay, let's kick it. Hey, just before I start, thanks to everyone, Danny and Juan and Theo, for putting this together. Thanks so much. It means a lot. And it's so nice to do this, you know, from around the world. Who knew? I'm sure all our ancestors that fled Egypt, they had no idea this was going to happen. So that's what is so nice. Okay, have some X to everyone. מה נשתנך הלילה הזה מכל הלילות, מכל הלילות, שבכל הלילות אנו אוכלים חמץ ומצה, חמץ ומצה. הלילה הזה כולו מצה, הלילה הזה כולו מצה, שבכל הלילות אנו אוכלים שאר ירקות, שאר ירקות. הלילה הזה כולו מרור, הלילה הזה כולו מרור, שבכל הלילות אין אנו מגבילים אפילו פעם אחת, אפילו פעם אחת. הלילה הזה שתי פעמים, הלילה הזה שתי פעמים, שבכל הלילות אנו אוכלים בין יושבים ובין מסובים, בין יושבים ובין מסובים. הלילה הזה כולנו מסובים, הלילה הזה כולנו מסובים.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much, Aaron. I hope everyone enjoyed that as much as I did. Doesn't he have a beautiful voice? Well, now that we spoke about Manishtana, we're going to go into a very important part of the Seder, which later, if Theo wants, we can translate very quickly, even though we said we are going to do it in English. Maybe because it's one of the most important ones, which is the 4 questions. If not, I'll just carry on in English. So, well, before I begin, this is mainly an activity for the youngest generations. I consider myself one, Theo, myself, and I to be one of the youngest here by far. So if you have any questions, especially young people that are joining, please do so. If it's in English or in Spanish, it doesn't matter. Please type it out on the chat. I will get back to it. And now we're going to go to the questions, which is the Abadim Hayinu. So the first question is Manishtana, which is exactly what Aaron just was thinking, which is, why is this special? Why is this special, this night in particular, compared to the rest of the nights throughout the year, in terms of why we eat matzah and not any other type of bread? So I want you to think about it, even for those that may know it. And the first answer that comes to my mind, at least, is that the main reason why we eat matzah now for this upcoming 8 days in the diaspora, 7 in Israel, is because we remember our ancestors that they couldn't wait to get that normal bread to escape from slavery in Mitzrayim in Egypt. So they had to take out their bread from the ovens when it was still plain. So it did produce afterwards matzah, and that's the main reason why we eat matzah throughout these 8 days. I'm going to go into the second question, but please feel free, especially young people, as I said, to write any type of questions that you may have. The second question is in regards to why all the remaining nights, all the other nights, do we eat all type of herbs, but in this particular night, we only eat the, now I forgot the word, maybe Theo can say it for me, hierbas amargas. I forgot the word, sorry.
Bitter herbs.
Thank you, bitter herbs. Thank you.
Maror.
Maror. Thank you, I forgot. So everyone can think of it, of course. To me, at least, the main reason why we eat the maror, we said, the bitter herbs, is to remember the bitterness of slavery from our ancestors from thousands of years ago that had to carry all that suffrage in Egypt while they were still slaves. We move on to the third question, which is why don't we, do we have it over there? Yes. On all other nights, we do not dip our food into a sauce even one time. Why tonight is it that we do dip foods twice, 2 times? The main reason, one of the reasons one could say, is that we do dip them twice, las verduras in salt water, and the second one, the bitter herbs, into hagoshet, which is it's like a mix between sweet nuts and wine. And the first dip of the herbs with salt water, it's because it signifies, it does symbolize that we replace the tears of gratitude. And the second time that we do dip it, it does represent the bitter herbs of the hagoshet that I briefly mentioned a couple of minutes ago. And it does symbolize that it sweetens the bitter part and the suffrage in order to decrease the pain that we had to go through. Last but not least, we go into the fourth one, which is on all other nights, we eat sitting up straight or leaning. But why is it tonight that we do make sure to eat leaning to our left? And the main reason why we do this, why we lean towards the left side in the Seder night, it's because back to our ancestors' times, those that would do that to eat would be the only ones that would be completely, truly free, purely free. And that is why we do recline in our chairs in the Seder table of Pesach to remember the glory of our liberty. So that's the answer to the 4 questions, which is an integral part of the Seder. And I didn't get to see if anyone asked any questions or if anyone wanted to share anything. We can do that very briefly. And if not, we can move towards the following part, which is the 10 plagues.
Now Danny's gonna sing with Oren a little song. So we're gonna go keep it happy, clappy, and keep it quick.
So I just lost Mr. Oren. I'll bring him back in a second. But what I'm going to do right now is share my screen. Hopefully you can all see the YouTube link. And I'm going to have it on, not on video. And I'm going to read basically out loud about the 10 plagues. And maybe Oren will join me for a quick song. So the 10 plagues are really, it's a story we tell. You know, we've been telling it for thousands of years. And some people say it's not only about the story, it's about the retelling of the story. That's what Passover and Pesach is all about. It's about this ritual every year of retelling the story as we remember when we were slaves in Egypt. So what were those powerful signs and wonders, the incredible 10 plagues that we talk about? Well, we begged Pharaoh, the ruler of Egypt, to let us go free. But Pharaoh's heart was as hard as stone. Oh, it says sharing is paused because you can't see that now. Okay, well, here, hopefully you'll be sharing now. And so this is so incredibly important when we talk about what were these plagues. You know, this is part of the story that we all know so well. And so the plagues are, and I'd invite everyone to take their wine and to take their pinky finger and to dip their pinky finger. This is what we do in our home and back in New Jersey. Dip their pinky finger in the wine and drop it out. Okay, and this is every time that we say a 10 plague, we take a bit of wine, which at this point represents the blood and represents each plague that we are going to be calling out right now. So if you will all join me, the 10 plagues are in the chronological order of when they happened, as hopefully you are seeing on the screen right now. Sangre, blood, dam, ranas, frogs, sarfedea, piojos, lice, tinim, wild animals, arov, bestias feroces, pesta de ganado, cattle disease, dever, sarna, shechin, I don't have, I'm reading the Spanish. What is that in English? Someone help me out. What's shechin? Anyone at all?
There's the one that speaks Spanish now. Come on, Teo.
I think Teo is trying to unmute himself. Okay.
Michelle says it's sores.
Sores, thank you.
Ulcers.
Yes, boils. Sores or boils on your body, that's right. Granizo, barad, that's hail. Langostas, arve, that's locusts, lots of flies everywhere. Oscuridad, choshech, darkness. And muerte de los primogénitos, makat bechorot, the killing, the slaying of the firstborn. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I see that our YouTube clip has ended. And hopefully you enjoyed that little scene from Prince of Egypt. And I pass it back to the leaders to come and take us home for the rest of the Seder.
Wait, can I just say something? We had a whole thing one year, a whole exegesis on the fact that once you do the dipping, at the end of it, you're not allowed to lick your finger because it's enjoyment in the suffering. So dip away, but don't lick.
No licking of the fingers.
No licking of the fingers.
No.
I don't do this part since I'm a very young child. I feel that it has to do with revenge. Could somebody correct my thinking on this? I don't want to put the feeling of revenge onto my oppressor.
That's actually really nice that you talked about this, because now Imi is going to do a little reenactment of the story, and he actually talks about exactly what you just mentioned right now.
Okay, Chag Sameach, everyone. So I want to talk about the story. The story after the plagues. We have the Pharaoh agreeing to let the Jewish tribe free and go, but then there is a break in the promise, and there is a hurry to leave, and the Jewish tribe leaves and is being followed by the army, and it comes to a dead end in front of the sea, and God parts the sea, allowing the Jewish tribe to go through, and the prosecutors behind, the army behind, whilst they are in the midst of the sea, the sea collapses. That's how the story goes. And I would like to look at it from the point of view of matzah. The matzah, I was thinking, you know, who likes matzah? You know, who likes to eat matzah? I would say normally nobody. I would guess, because, well, if we liked matzah, we would eat it every day of the whole year. That would be our normal bread. But instead, normally, day by day, we enjoy a much fluffier, softer, different kind of bread. We don't enjoy matzah. And that is really the point of the story here. You have to think about, to imagine a kind of time where you don't have even the time to finish making your bread, not even time, not even the luxury, the basic privilege to have your bread rise, but instead to be in a time, to imagine what kind of time does one have to be, what kind of a situation does one have to be to eat matzah. Matzah has survived as a tradition to tell us about this kind of time. The fact that we eat matzah, the fact that it has survived, shows us the kind of mindset, it resembles the kind of mindset that the Jewish tribe was at that point. Imagine yourself, try to actually put yourself in that kind of a situation where you know that the government, somebody is going to potentially come very soon to your homes, going to take you away from your homes, going to at least enslave you, maybe even worse, maybe even kill you. You can imagine to be in a situation as a parent or as a child. As a parent, you will try to stay calm and try to, you're going to pack up everything, have your kids be calm to go and survive. You have to get out and you have to act. The kids at the same time, also they see there is a special situation going on. Something is happening. They need to help their parents. Something has to be done. This is the type of situation that forces us to have to be left with a type of bread like matzah, is the type of a situation that we are talking about, of needing to flee a persecution so immediate. Now, this kind of a story, we know the story, we've seen the story in movies, we've heard the stories. It seems for many people far away, a fantastical story maybe, or you know, can it even be? And first of all, if we ask ourselves the question, is such a story really impossible? Then we should realize, no, we all know people from the previous century where this happened, not thousands of years ago. In the previous century, there was already situations where people were in the urgency of needing to protect themselves, to flee their homes, because they didn't know whether someone, the government, is going to come and arrest them or take their liberty away, and maybe even worse. We all know people that went through this kind of a situation in the previous century. So we know this kind of a story is not impossible. However, for most of us, if you hear this kind of if you try to imagine this story, but if this story feels unreal, difficult to put yourself into the shoes, to imagine it, then I want to say that is a good thing. We have to realize that the less you can put yourself into the shoes of the Jewish tribe of back then, the more you can realize in how much freedom we have gained, the more you can realize how much freedom we enjoy now. The younger listeners amongst us, if you listen to this, this should make you feel positive, appreciative, and understand the privilege to not be in a situation to need to eat matzah every day. We are eating it today symbolically, but we are not forced to, for many years, to endure such a situation. Now, I want to also add that some people would look at the situation nowadays. The theme of this Seder, we were talking also about the restrictions on our freedoms through the COVID, through the pandemic. Have we been losing any restrictions? And why even talk about restrictions? Well, we are talking about the story of freeing enslavement and becoming free. And the base definition of enslavement is to lose freedom, to have restrictions imposed on oneself. So if you look at nowadays worlds, people would argue that, are we losing? We have been losing some freedoms. We have had restrictions imposed on us. We have masks, we have curfews, travel restrictions. Some cannot leave, some cannot go somewhere. And well, we know this is what we've had for 1 year, and we don't know for how long more are we going to have it. I would like to point out at this point that to me comes to mind another beautiful part of Jewish tradition, and that is hygiene. Hygiene is something that successfully carried people through difficult times. Hygiene means to keep clean, whether it is to wash your hands, whether it is to take a shower, to brush your teeth, or in a time of pandemic, hygiene also means to keep some distance, to wear masks, and even the most high-tech form of hygiene that we have coming to us is the vaccination. It's like putting soap on your hands to keep viruses away. We put like a film on cells on the molecular level to keep viruses away. So this current restrictions that we actually have are actually a part of a hygienic exercise and restrictions we are putting on ourselves. It is an effort, a hygienic effort we are putting ourselves to in order to continue enjoying our prolonged freedom and enjoy even more freedom in the future to come and for longer times. To come to the previous, there was a question about morality of the pursuers, the Egyptians in the story that pursued the Jewish tribe, and then they were killed by God, by the sea. Is that just? Should we be happy that our ancestors survived and the Egyptians did not survive? I think that the very obvious answer in my mind is that the Jewish people were slaves, but they were also the persecutors. There was a clear party of victims and those who were running away, and there was a clear part of those that were on two different sides. Ultimately, in life, what is true, what sounds harsh, but in order to live, one has to kill in some way. At least one has to eat vegetables. One cannot survive on stones. You have to eat something. And so there is always a balance. And is from that, can we derive morality? Was one right or the other? I think that the person that, even though they are a slave, chooses to stand up for freedom and chooses to remain hopeful of gaining freedom, versus the person who chooses their slavery to enslave others, I do think that there is a real moral difference in that. That is my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jimmy. Very, very nice thought out. Thank you.
Hola, Cabot.
So we'll move on to Dayenu now, if everybody's. We have a little video, which is nice. And yeah, we'll go straight on.
Ilu Hotianu, Hotianu, mi Mitzrayim, Hotianu, mi Mitzrayim, Dayenu, 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 Dayenu.
Well, definitely not the most traditional of Dayenus, but I hope you guys enjoyed that. And we'll move on now to telling a story of food. So we've obviously got the matzah, which I think Imi's explained enough about. However, we'll go through it. So first we have the lamb bone. The roasted lamb bone is called Pesach, the Hebrew name for the Passover holiday. So why is it on our table? So on the Jews' last night as slaves in Egypt, each family shared a feast of roasted lamb. When God sent the frightening 10th plague to every house in Egypt, God passed over, or skipped the houses where Jews were getting ready to go free. The lamb was a sign to God that the Jews were choosing to go free. The lamb bone connects us to that first Passover celebration and reminds us that we are choosing to celebrate Passover now. So please, everybody take your lamb bone. So then we have our matzah. So if everybody in their house can lift up their matzah while still on the cloth. So this matzah that we'll eat in a few moments, why is it on our Seder table? Matzah is made of the same dough as bread. As we mix it and bake it much faster. That's why it stays dry, flat and dry. Matzah reminds us that when the Pharaoh finally agreed to let us go, we had to leave Egypt fast. There was no time to get ready or to wait. Eating matzah at the Seder reminds us of slavery and also of freedom, because we took it with us to eat when we could not stay as slaves even one more hour. We'll move on to the maror. So please, everyone lift up their maror from their Seder plates. This bit of vegetable is called maror, which means something bitter. So why is it on our table? Maror has a sharp, harsh taste. Eating maror is supposed to sting our mouth a little. Maror's harshness reminds us how hard and painful it was being a slave in Egypt. It helps us imagine soreness in our backs from lifting heavy bricks. It reminds us of the pain in our hearts when we thought we would never be free. To understand how important freedom is, it is not enough for us to talk about slavery. Tasting the maror, we make sure we also feel at least a little bit of the slave's bitter pain. It helps us remember that when we get the choice, we choose to go free. These three symbolic foods, the lamb bone, the matzah, and the maror, bring the feeling of the first Passover night to our own Seder table. In every generation, no matter how long ago the first Passover night was, we try to feel that we ourselves are going to be free right now. So because of all this, we thank and praise God who did all these miracles for our ancestors and for us. God led us from slavery to freedom, from despair to happiness, from sadness to a joyful holiday, and from darkness to a great light. So we say, Venomar lefanav shiva chadasha. Hallelujah. So now we move on to the second cup of wine, and I believe Howard Goldenberg is going to take it away.
Hello. I'm going to start right in. Dear God, creator of our world, thank you for making us and our families free, and for bringing us safely to this night to eat matzah and maror at the Seder. Dear God, thank you for making us free. Is that all?
Hi, so thank you very much, Howard.
You're welcome, thank you.
Thank you. And if Sarah wants to take it away from here, she's more than free to.
Sorry, I'm experiencing the benefits of already like 2 glasses of wine, so This is good. So now we're doing rachza or motzi. Sorry, I lost track.
Now we're doing rachza, motzi, matzah.
Rachza. Okay, so we will be washing hands for anybody who wants to zip out and do another rachza, or
Yes.
yes, says the kid who never washes his hands.
Me too. I wash my hands every day.
Okay. Sorry. So the second hand washing and the brachot for the matzah. So we are going to taste the matzah for the first time this evening. Before we do that, obviously everybody knows we need to wash our hands, which is rachza. And to what?
And then we eat the matzah without you find the other matzah.
Okay, we're not finding the other matzah yet, and you just told everybody where it is. So it is our tradition to say the blessing over washing our hands. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitzanu mitzotav v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim. So that would be if everyone's washing their hands. You can hear me in your bathroom. Great. And then the next one.
I'm gonna go wash my hands.
Good. You go wash your hands. Mazal tov. The next one that we're going to do is maror. I think we forgot to do a bracha on the matzah. Yeah, okay. All right, so we have matzah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min
haaretz.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitzanu mitzotav v'tzivanu al achilat matzah. Dear God, creator of our work, thank you for giving us rules that make our lives special and for teaching us to wash our hands before we eat. Should have been listening to that before. Dear God, creator of our world, thank you for bringing bread out of the earth. And dear God, creator of our world, thank you for giving us rules that make our lives special and for teaching us to eat matzah at the Seder.
Thank you, God.
Thank you. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you, Mom.
Am I maror too?
Please, if you want.
Okay. So maror normally looks like this in your Seder plate. I unfortunately did not make it and get it. But if everybody wants to get their maror, this is the bitter vegetable, the bitter herb. Everybody has a different version of that. For us, the Ashkenazim, it's charoset. For the Sephardim, c'est quoi ça? Maror. We say a blessing over the maror, and when we eat it, we do not lean to the side. For this moment, we are slaves again. So no kulanu lo mesuvim. Before we eat the maror, we dip it in charoset. So mix your maror. This is the second dip, which was mentioned in the Manishtana. And the maror can be eaten on a piece of matzah or inside a piece of romaine. And when everyone's ready, you want to hold it up? So here we go.
I Mom.
Good job, Bub. Okay. All right, so you hold this. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitzanu mitzvotav v'tzivanu al achilat maror.
Adab. My dad.
Theo, is it still me?
Hi.
Please.
Okay. Korach. Korach is the favorite part of most people's Seder. It's the sandwich part. All right, so we get the pieces of matzah that we put on the side from before. And we get ready to make the sandwich.
I thought we were doing a YouTube video for like how to slime or something.
Okay, so we have our charoset. We make our little sandwich. This is the one thing that saves everybody from getting hangry. When everyone's ready. And then Theo, if you could scroll down for the bracha, because I don't know it.
I don't.
Oh, is there a bracha for the korach? Oh, this is Shulchan Aruch. I guess we just then there's no bracha.
No, doesn't seem to be a bracha for it.
Okay, well, enjoy your sandwiches, everybody.
Enjoy you. Yummy
Thank you.
sandwich. Thanks for your time.
Sorry, I'll fill in. It just says, say the paragraph below and then eat your sandwich. We'll do it afterwards. So 2,000 years ago, a teacher in Israel named Hillel created one of the world's first sandwiches. Korech brings together in a matzah sandwich, bitter maror, and tzui charoset. Enjoy eating the leftover your sandwich then. So we're going to skip the Shulchan Orech and moves onto the third glass of wine. If Emilia Littman can please unmute herself.
Hi, just a second, I'll find the, yes. Okay, so here to the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagofen. Dear God, creator of our world, thank you for the delicious fruit that grows on vines. And next, so we escaped from Pharaoh, told our story, and enjoyed our Passover meal. Now it's time to celebrate our freedom. First, we stop to hope for a future when the whole world will be free. Then we sing song of praise and celebration. That was my part. That's it from me.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Now Vicky is going to continue with Elias cup. Elias cup, sorry.
Elias cup.
Да, голос красивый, вообще красиво сказал.
Okay.
And I just why do some people force other people to be slaves? Why do some people... Hello? Hi. Why do some people force other people to be slaves? Why do some...
One second. One second, sorry, it's cutting off a little bit. So the other person that person unmute themselves so we can clearly hear Vicky, please. I think it's Emilia. Thank you. Vicky, proceed.
Okay, so Elijah's cup. Why do some people force other people to be slaves? Why do some people have hard lives while others get to be free? Why did Egyptians have to suffer when the Jews were being saved? In many Jewish stories, a special man named Elijah the prophet helps us dream of a happier and fairer world on Passover. Elijah has a special job. He travels around the world to visit every Seder, reminding us to have hope and keep working for fairness and justice. We welcome Elijah with a special cup of wine just for him. So I think we fill a cup for Elijah and let him in. So do we open the door now? Hello?
That's what we're doing at the moment.
Okay, have everyone pour a bit of wine or juice into Elijah's cup, then stand up from the table and open the front door to welcome Elijah. Smell the nighttime air, listen to the sounds of evening. Where is Elijah? Will he visit our Seder and have a drink with us? Did he already sit up from his cup? Earlier tonight, we asked Manish Tana, what is different? Now we can ask, how can we make a difference? Can we make our world a place where Elijah would want to stay? Together we sing a song for Elijah that hopes for a day when everyone will be free.
is there any other way he can get in?
No, you have to open the door.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So we'll move on now to the awaited Afikomen. We prepared this little Find Wally game. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Find Wally. If you're not, here's a picture of him. Oopla. So this is the person we're looking for. And the image we're looking for him in is this one here. So what we're going to do is, if you guys remember the list of organizations we came up with at the start of the Seder, we're going to see who is the first person to find it. And the first person to find Wally in this picture, who's in this case going to be our Afikomen, will get to decide which of these organizations we wrote in that chat box will receive a gift from all Seder participants. So if everyone is comfortable with that, no matter how much or how little, anything we can afford just to donate it to that charity or organization which is doing good for the world. So we'll give everyone 5 minutes, or I don't know, if anyone's very good at finding Wally, then just shout it out and tell the rest of us. Sorry, and at the same time, you can find your own Afikomen, which I suppose you've hidden somewhere around the house.
I need to look at Wally again.
I'll show you very quickly. He's you could, once you see him, he's unmissable, but this is him.
Okay.
He's got big glasses and is wearing a stripy top.
Looks like Teo.
Absolutely.
This is really unfair for us oldies.
I'm 20 and I also have no idea. I just line of the bet. Hopefully the kiddies are better at this than us.
Sarah's your name.
Found him.
Who found him?
I did. JM.
Okay, JM.
Mallorca.
Please enlighten us. Whereabouts is it? Is it?
Right. You put the arrow just in the middle.
Okay.
In the middle.
Middle.
And go up, up, up. A bit more, a bit more, a bit more, a bit more.
Oh, there.
Muy bien.
Well done, well done. Okay. So I can zoom in a bit. That's him, not the highest quality, but
yeah.
So please, which charity or organization would you like for us to choose from? It can be one of the ones we've already talked about, or it can be a different one. Completely up to you.
Well, that's a huge responsibility. Well, I guess my favorite organization is a very well-known, which is in Spanish is Médicos Sin Fronteras.
I'll write it down in the group. Could you please explain a bit about Médicos Sin Fronteras?
Well, Médicos Sin Fronteras is an organization that tries to get healthcare to everyone in the world, basically, aside from their country, aside from their religion, aside from their wealth. So it's very important, especially in those countries that don't have like an organized health system, either public or private, it doesn't mind, but like in the third world or so. And I've been collaborating with them for a while now. So it's the first, I think it's the first organization that comes to my mind.
Beautiful, beautiful. So if it's okay with everyone else, share it with your friends, or if you can make a donation, it would be beautiful. And we'll leave it for after the Seder for everyone to do at their own discretion.
Doctors Without Borders, Médecins Sans Frontières. They're just an amazing organization.
Yeah, and it's the same I was talking about.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it's that one, yeah.
Okay, beautiful. If now we'll go on to Miriam's cup, if Sabina would like to unmute herself. And I'll share.
Yeah, I'm unmuted now. Okay, shalom. So Miriam's cup, the Jewish people would not have gone free from Egypt without the action of many brave women. Moses' mother, Yocheved, and his older sister Miriam hid baby Moses in a basket on the Nile River. The Egyptian princess who found little Moses kept him safe in the palace. Shifra and Pur were midwives who also saved Jewish babies. After the Jewish people escaped through the Sea of Reeds, Miriam led them in song. The tradition is that wherever Miriam traveled in the desert, a well of refreshing water would appear. Miriam's music and pools of water kept the Jewish people strong on their long journey through the desert to Israel. As we fill Miriam's cup and take a sip from our own glass of water, we remember Miriam and the many strong women who helped keep the Jewish people strong and safe.
Thank you very much, Sabine. So if everybody can take a sip of their water. I think it's a very nice tradition, this one. Now we'll move on to the fourth cup of wine, which is page 66. And this will be passed on to my father.
Good evening. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam, barei pri hagofan.
Okay, perfect. So now we'll move on to Echad Miodeya. Do we have any volunteers who would like to sing Echad Miodeya? Or if not, we've got our good friend Jack Black, who, from what I've heard, released a new Echad Miodeya. Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties.
So am I.
אחד מי יודע, אחד שבשמיים ובארץ, חמישה אני יודע, חמישה אני יודע, חמישה חומשי תורה, 4 אמהות, 3 אהבות, 2 לוחות הברית, 1 אלוהינו, 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 שבשמיים ובארץ, 6 אני יודע, 6 אני יודע, 6 סדרי משנה, 5 חומשי תורה, 4 אמהות, 3 אהבות, 2 לוחות הברית, 1 אלוהינו, 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 שבשמיים ובארץ, 7 אני יודע, 7 אני יודע, 7 ימי שבתא, 6 סדרי משנה, 5 חומשי תורה, 4 אמהות, 3 אהבות, 2 לוחות הברית, 1 אלוהינו, 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 שבשמיים ובארץ, 8 אני יודע, 8 אני יודע, 8 ימי מילה, 7 ימי שבתא, 6 סדרי משנה, 5 חומשי תורה, 4 אמהות, 3 אהבות, 2 לוחות הברית, 1 אלוהינו, 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 שבשמיים ובארץ, 9 אני יודע, 9 אני יודע, 9 ירחי לידה, 8 ימי מילה, 7 ימי שבתא, 6 סדרי משנה, 5 חומשי תורה, 4 אמהות, 3 אהבות, 2 לוחות הברית, 1 אלוהינו, 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 שבשמיים ובארץ, 10 אני יודע, 10 אני יודע, 10 דיבריה, 9 ירחי לידה, 8 ימי מילה, 7 ימי שבתא, 6 סדרי משנה, 5 חומשי תורה, 4 אמהות, 3 אהבות, 2 לוחות הברית, 1 אלוהינו, 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 שבשמיים ובארץ, 11 אני יודע, 11 אני יודע, 11 כוכביה, 10 דיבריה, 9 ירחי לידה, 8 ימי מילה, 7 ימי שבתא, 6 סדרי משנה, 5 חומשי תורה, 4 אמהות, 3 אהבות, 2 לוחות הברית, 1 אלוהינו, 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 שבשמיים ובארץ, 12 אני יודע, 12 אני יודע, 12 שבטיה, 11 כוכביה, 10 דיבריה, 9 ירחי לידה, 8 ימי מילה, 7 ימי שבתא, 6 סדרי משנה, 5 חומשי תורה, 4 אמהות, 3 אהבות, 2 לוחות הברית, 1 אלוהינו, 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 שבשמיים ובארץ, 13 אני יודע, 13 אני יודע, 13 מידיה, 12 שבטיה, 11 כוכביה, 10 דיבריה, 9 ירחי לידה, 8 ימי מילה, 7 ימי שבתא, 6 סדרי משנה, 5 חומשי תורה, 4 אמהות, 3 אהבות, 2 לוחות הברית, 1 אלוהינו, 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 שבשמיים ובארץ.
So we'll quickly move on to Chad Gadia. Danny was supposed to sing this, but unfortunately he's told me he's having internet problems. So this is the one that's by Jack Black. And yeah, hopefully we can bear one last song, and I suppose everyone's already famished.
It was in 2011
Sorry about this.
Well, there came a goat, there came a kid that father but for two zuzim had gadiyah, had gadiyah. Then came a cat that ate the kid that father but for two zuzim had gadiyah, had gadiyah. There came a dog that bit the cat that ate the kid that father but for two zuzim had gadiyah, had gadiyah. Came a stick that beat the dog that bit the cat that ate the kid that father but for two we were using had gadiyah, had gadiyah. Then came the fire that burnt the stick that beat the dog that bit the cat that ate the kid that father but for two zuzim had gadiyah, had gadiyah. Then came the water that quenched the fire that burnt the stick that beat the dog that bit the cat that ate the kid that father but for two we were using had gadiyah, had gadiyah. Came the ox that drank the water that quenched the fire that burnt the stick that beat the dog that bit the cat that ate the kid that father but for two zuzim had gadiyah, had gadiyah. Then came the butcher that slaughtered the ox that drank the water that quenched the fire that burnt the stick that beat the dog that bit the cat that ate the kid that father but for two we were using had gadiyah, had gadiyah. Then came the angel of death, that slayed the butcher, that slaughtered the ox that drank the water that quenched the fire that burnt the stick that beat the dog that bit the cat that ate the kid that father but for two zuzim had gadiyah, had gadiyah. Then came the Lord our God, King of the universe, that smote the angel of death, that slayed the butcher, that slaughtered the ox, that drank the water that quenched the fire, that burnt the stick, that beat the dog, that bit the cat, that ate the kid, that father but for two we use him. Had gadiyah, had gadiyah.
Only one thing to say is thank you very much to Jack Black for that performance. And now we'll move on to Lara, who's going to say some last words for us. Oh, sorry about that.
Hi guys. Oh, that was amazing. Those are really fun. Both of those songs are amazing. So we began the Seder as slaves tasting salty tears. Then we raced through the desert and sand and ate matzah baked in a hurry. We passed through the sea of reeds and escaped from Pharaoh's army. We praised God for helping us escape and saving our lives. Our job of remembering and reliving this amazing adventure is now complete. We have finished our Seder and told our story of freedom. We now move from the past to the future. How will I grow this year? How will the world change? How can we keep moving from slavery to freedom?
Thank you very much, Lara. And I think this is the last one and a point of reflection. So if anybody would like to, even if they haven't intervened in this service, is to express their opinion on this year and these last questions. How will I grow this year? How will the world change? And how can we keep moving from slavery to freedom?
Well, I would say personally that there's still a lot of work to be done about inclusion and diversity and freedom, and we're not free until we're all free. When reflecting upon the slavery of the pandemic, personally, I don't consider this a slavery. I consider this a journey of sometimes there's some rules in life and some restriction, and you have to be careful for your own health. I don't consider this the same thing as slavery per se, where one person is restricting another person. I feel like this is an unfortunate natural occurrence, which could have been avoided with some some maintained funding. Personally, that's my belief. I don't consider that a form of slavery personally. The pandemic is not slavery. I feel like there is real slavery. I have never in my life experienced anti-Semitism until I have arrived in Europe. So I just moved to Mallorca from New York City last year. I have never experienced personally anti-Semitism, except through stories. Until I've been here, my children have experienced so much anti-Semitism this year. So with the help of the community and with Danny's outreach program, we're gonna keep fighting that, you know, and with the support of our friends and community. But there's still a lot of work to be done, not just for us personally as Jews, but for everybody. And I think that everyone can find an example of someone that they can stand up for. So the systemic racism and abuse of people is fought and solved by systemic freedom, right? Systemic experience. So identifying, calling it out, taking action. These micro motions combat microaggressions, which turn into massive aggression, right? So I would just want to encourage everyone, when you see something, say something.
Well, you know, no, like they should talk about that.
Is there anyone else that would like to? Wait.
I think Lara isn't finished. I think one of her sons is trying to say something, but he's muted.
Do you want to talk? Do you want to say something? It's unmuted now.
Well, there's still a lot of people being enslaved. In the UK, there's 13,000 slaves.
More.
Yeah, which is like, I think that we need to understand that it's still an issue, and that just because it's illegal doesn't mean that people are not doing it, and that there's still a lot of work to be done against slavery, and that like we should just keep pressing against the issue and like raising awareness.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I would just like to say something very, very quickly in regards to what he said. He made a brilliant point saying that just because something is legal, whatever it may be, doesn't mean that it's right. And I feel like sometimes we as a society, or many people tend to think that just because a government enacts something, or maybe it's something it's legal, that doesn't mean that it's socially acceptable or it's right from a moral point of view. So I just wanted to thank you for that brilliant point.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to share something? Or
I want to say for a second for everybody, Chag Sameach from Moscow, Russia. It was amazing to be with you. Thank you.
Thank
I
you
wanted to say,
please.
I wanted also to say thank you so much, Toda Rava. It was very nice to be with you, and I'm very sorry about everybody experiencing anti-Semitism. I'm fighting it every time I face it or I see it, and I wanted to say something to the pandemic and the Pesach story. So I think I consider this as a bit of a slavery, although it's not comparable to a total slavery. But anyhow, we can overcome this with our scientific, with our brain and with our intelligence. So I think we can handle this worldwide, and we all have to be in this together and combat every fake news on vaccination, whatever, in order to get the world in a better condition. Because I fear personally, if we face more problems with a pandemic, there will be more economic problems, and this will incite hatred and anti-Semitism. That's the logic. It's not a logic, but that's the experience of the history. So that's my wish for Pesach, for everybody.
Well said. Thank you.
Anyone? Yes, please.
Thank Laura for inviting me. We're in Rochester, New York, near Rochester, New York, and
we just got on here, but just to be reconnected with this community is a lovely, lovely thing. We, in the diaspora that we are, we're kind of removed from this side of the community, and it's a beautiful, gentle thing to participate in. And I'd like to thank you all for putting this together, especially Lara for inviting us.
Well, oh, Theo. No. I just wanted to say before we finish that thank you so much to everyone that joined from Russia, from the US, from so many different countries. I think it truly does represent how international this Quechila, this community it is. I'm very proud to say that I'm from Mallorca, and to see that all these people across the world want to be part of it, and to see us so connected is delightful. As we say, L'Shana Haba B'Yerushalayim. Hopefully next year we'll see each other in Jerusalem. And I would just like to thank you once again for being here and sharing this almost 2 hours with us at the very beginning of the Pesach. And once again, thank you to my dear friend Theo for leading on today, because he did pretty much all the work and he did an incredible job. And thank you obviously to Danny for last year, Imi, Adri. And once again, thank you everyone for being here with us, and Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach. Couldn't have been said better. Thank you very much. My father would like to say something.
I just
Chag
like
Sameach, everybody.
I'd just like to say that I think here from Mallorca, we can see, in spite of all the problems that Judaism had over the centuries and the last century, that here in Mallorca, we see as an example how Judaism and the goodness of Judaism can be resurrected into a positive future. And we're seeing very much examples of that here on Mallorca.
And obviously, it's like everything. There's a lot of, from what I've heard. This is actually the first time I've heard of this. A lot of steps. Actually, no, I'm lying. I've heard of it before, and it's good that there's campaigns going on now. And as you said, it's small steps. We've come a long way. I would say, in the last 10 years, especially in our community, a lot of new things have happened to be more inclusive, to be more open. There's been setbacks, but I believe it's like we were talking together. If we push together, then we'll be free, and each one in their own way.
A phoenix of Judaism.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say once again, thank you very, very much. I suppose everybody is starving, so please go and eat, enjoy your meals, and Chag Sameach.
Thank you, Theo. That was great. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Gracias.
Gracias, thank you.
Thank you, Theo, for organizing all this and leading us through. It was very, very nice.
No,
And Juan.
Imi, Juan, Danny, Adri, they're all to thank. They've done so much work as well. So a team effort.
Team effort. Well, Chag Pesach Sameach, everyone.
Shalom. Shalom.
Shalom lekulam.
Hasta pronto.